here twice and done that. We'd sit in the car and watch the touch and go. He said, boy, them engines sure has got a lot of RPM.
What got Ramley into mechanic work on airplanes?
Huh?
What got him into that mechanic work on airplanes?
Well, that's what he wanted.
Hmm.
He wanted to work on airplane engines. 4-engine bombers. I think that was a B-36.
B-29, right?
B-29, yeah.
Super Fortress, they call them.
And then the B-36 is too damn big. He can't maneuver like the smaller planes.
Hmm.
And what they were doing down there, the enemy would shoot off the tail end of the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would take the plane like this down and kill a whole crew.
Hmm.
There's usually 6 on the 4-engine bombers.
Ramley's who got you into doing mechanic work, ain't it?
Yeah, he taught me when we started working on engines. He said, what are you gonna do? He said, I thought you were gonna take a helicopter. I said, no, there are too many of them going down with the whole crew. At that time, they're just killing, every week or so. Helicopter going down, killing the whole crew. I told him, no, I don't wanna, I'm gonna keep my feet on the ground. There'd be a lot of cars to work on. So that's what I did.
Hmm.
He taught me from bearings to crank to seals to valve jobs to carburation, all that stuff.
What was your favorite?
I'd say the crank and the pistons and the rings
Yeah.
would be my favorite because you got your engine bottom side up till you get your crank in, buckle down, then you roll your motor up edgeways, put your pistons in.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things is building engines too.
Yeah. I'm trying to get Ron to understand a valve job on a lawnmower.
How old is Ron now? He's about 60, ain't he?
Yeah.
Well, you could still learn.
Well, they got a tool like this, about like this long, like a broom handle, end of a broom handle. That's what it looks like. It's got a suction cup on the end.
Yep.
That you spit on it, push it down on the valve to where you can,
You can lap them in.
after you got the grinding compound on there, you just do it this way.
Or is that, you like that 4 clover, right? That's the kind you like?
The what?
4 clover? It's called 4 clover. It's in those little green containers.
Yeah, the fine is in one side and
Coarse
coarse is in the other.
Yeah.
And you do the coarse first, get it all clean, then put your fine on. And you do it this way, make it go.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear that grinding.
Yep.
Once you get that sound, you don't just keep doing it, You just do it enough. I'd say about like that
Mm.
on one valve. And I told him, here's a secret. Don't have both valves out at the same time. Do you know why?
No.
One is magnetized and one ain't.
Hmm.
You mix them up, you can try them with a magnet.
Yeah.
And it'll stick to one of them, but it won't stick to the other. And both of them are metal.
Hmm.
If you if you reverse them, lawnmower ain't gonna last no time. It'll burn the valve.
They have different sizes though, don't they? Intake's bigger, exhaust is smaller.
No, sometimes
Oh, lawnmower. Sometimes they're the same.
Sometimes it's the same.
Hmm.
Where you get that now is a compressor that puts out over 100 pounds, say 150 pounds. You're stepping way up in the horsepower. Is where you got bigger intake than that exhaust.
Okay. Do you ever hear about those sodium filled valves, where it helps to get rid of the heat, and they hollow them out. You can shake the valve, and you can hear the sodium in it.
No.
yeah. I guess that's on a car valve though.
I don't know what they would be on though.
I've seen them on Fords. I don't know who else did it, but I have seen them on Fords on the bigger valves.
Well, see, my engine building was on the metal fender cars.
Mm.
It wasn't none on the
Plastic.
front wheel drive.
Yeah.
Plastic fenders, plastic hood, and it says safety. Shit, ain't no safety there. Plastic bumper. Hit a head on, I guarantee you, it'll mash that thing clear on into the windshield and get you.
Hmm.
If it's plastic. But the metal, you can just about live.
Hmm.
Because you got a metal bumper, metal fenders. Shoot. Here's what I ain't understood about you though. Why haven't you pulled out a standard transmission and put in an overdrive?
I mean, like a overdrive automatic?
Like I've always done. Or go to from an automatic to a standard. I was always scared to have trouble with the automatic, like Charles Perkins' mom and dad got killed the same day.
Yeah.
One of the boys, one of his brothers, was supposed to check the fluid that night.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Well, at first Charles thought that, but somebody at the scene, they said they could hear the tires spinning in the rain, so they lost traction. So it wasn't because he didn't check the fluid and it was low. It's because they lost traction. They were spinning, and then that truck T-boned them.
Well, I never heard of that rain.
Yeah, it was raining that day.
I don't think it was.
It was because I got off work and I was about to go right by the accident scene, but I saw traffic was backed up, so I went the other way. But it was raining that day. I remember for sure it was raining. And then Charles thought for a long time that because he didn't check the fluid, that the transmission was slipping, and his parents got killed because of that. So he always felt guilty. But years later, we were talking to somebody that witnessed it, and they said that the truck was spinning trying to get across that intersection. So he lost traction and got T-boned, and it killed him and his wife.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, yep. So it wasn't Charles's fault after all.
Charles's brother.
Yeah, Charles's brother. Do you remember? I don't know if you ever met him. He lived in a van on the side of the road, drank all the time. But when he passed away, he had about $500,000. And he gave it all to Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure did. Yeah, you wouldn't think that guy had anything, but he had plenty of money.
Now, how in the hell, if you could figure out that recipe of how he was making that money?
I think he just saved it and didn't spend any. Yeah, living in that van. Yeah. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Charles couldn't believe it either.
Well, Charles put his brother in prison.
Well, maybe it was a different brother.
Because his brother sold his violin.
Well, it might have been a different brother. He had some other brothers, and he had distant cousins and stuff like that that were pretty crooked. One of them, his name was what was his name? I know his last name was Dixon. Might have been Don. He stole his mom's truck, went on a stealing spree, stole a bunch of stuff. Cops chased him. He crashed the truck, jumped over the highway median, and a car hit him on the fast lane on the other side and killed him.
Dear.
He was pretty crazy. He said he had his name tattooed on his arm, and he said when the cops get me one day, they're gonna know who they got, because it's right here on my arm. He was crazy.
What was the name on the arm?
His name, Don Dixon. Yeah.
God damn.
He was crazy as hell. One day, Letitia and I were taking him somewhere. He was in the back seat. He told me, he said, I could put a knife to your throat right now and you'd do anything that I want you to do. I told him, shut the fuck up and stop talking stupid.
I'd put his ass out.
Yeah. Oh, it was Chris. Name was Chris, Daddy. It was Chris Dixon. That's what his name was. Yeah.
Well, some of us start talking that crazy, I put his ass out.
Yeah, I told him shut the fuck up. Told him shut up.
I wouldn't trust him at my back no more.
That was the last time I gave him a ride too. Yeah.
Damn.
That's some shit. Yep, Chris Dixon. That was his name. Hell, he died. He's probably about 30 years old. 30, 35 at the most. I think he's about 30 years old.
Damn, how did he make it that far?
I don't know. He drank a lot, did a lot of drugs, you know.
Oh, by the way, Ron's making pretty damn good money and putting it in his safe. And he has been, since he's been living there, 8 years.
Oh, good.
And he still ain't got enough, he says, to make a down payment on that vehicle, that metal fender pickup like Cedric's got.
Yeah.
Through a friend. Said he wouldn't sell me no junk. And if it needed a timing chain or timing belt, he wouldn't put one bad off on me. I said, well, your speedometer reading numbers, if they read 150,000, you can bet that damn timing belt or the timing chain is fixing to go. He says, how would you tell that your timing chain is going to go bad? I said, well, you hook up your timing light and you throttle it more speed and then slack off. A little bit of speed and slack off. And you'll have your, on your harmonic balance, mark will be so much distance.
It'll be jumping around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's ready to go.
Yep. Yep.
I'd say at least 150,000. Your timing chain or timing belt is fixing to go. That's about the lifetime of them. Because
You know, some timing belts only last 60,000. And that's something.
That's a number 3. You got a number 1, 2, and 3 on a belt. The 1 will outlast all the rest of them. And it costs a little more.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it to put the best belt on. But you have to count them teeth 2 or 3 times and make sure that somebody didn't slip a belt in on you. It's got less teeth or more teeth. Make sure of that. And when you slide that timing belt off, don't let it do that on you.
Yep.
Bring it straight out and straight back in.
Yeah, you also got to make sure that the spring pressure doesn't turn the cam, because
Well-
you'll look away for a second and the spring pressure will turn the damn cam. And
You know how to stop that before you get that far?
Hmm.
2 pair of vice grips.
Hmm.
You know, when you vice grip that cam,
Yep.
the handle is down here at the stop of the block.
Yep.
Do the same thing over here, and that way it won't, the spring won't throw it like that, or
Mhm.
like that. Your springs on your valves. If you lock your vice grip on that cam and let the handle rest here where it can't go nowhere,
Yep.
and you put the vice grip, another pair over here, do the same thing. Well, that keeps it like that. It don't have it this way. The cam will stay right there, and you
Yeah.
can slip that belt right off and slip that new one right on.
We did a timing belt a couple of days ago, and we took it apart, and somebody had installed it wrong. One tooth off.
Oh, shit.
Yep. We got it back, put it right. It ran way better afterwards.
Yeah, that'll knock on your horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of people will say the timing change is easy. That's a bunch of crap, or timing belt.
Mm-hmm.
Because you gotta take a harmonic balance off.
Yep. It's not for the amateur.
Boy, I'm telling you. Amateur can't do it
No.
right. Once you get the harmonic balance off, the cover off, you're down to the nitty gritty then.
Mm-hmm.
Then you put your vice grips up on the cam where it won't go this way. And you get your belt off, you get the belt on. But make sure you count them teeth 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, what we do today is we put it all together, and then we roll the engine over twice by hand and make sure all the marks come back where they should. Because if you got an extra tooth or one less tooth, it'll be off. So that way you can make sure that it's.
Yeah, but you done all that work.
Well, I didn't say put it all. I just said put the belt on it and then roll it over before you put all the timing cover and everything back on. And what we normally do is we do the buddy system. So when the mechanic gets to that point, he'll have his buddy come over and take a look, make sure that everything looks good, roll it over, and verify it before we put it all back together. Save you a lot of headache. Put it back on and it ain't right, you know.
Well, I do my procedure, but I never have to redo. Never have to tear mine down and redo mine.
Mm.
Hell, I've cranked them up before you even put the valve cover on.
Yeah, just to be sure.
Yeah.
Done that too.
Well, when you bring it up to TDC, that rotor's supposed to be formed to number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Of course, anything newer than about 1990, a lot of them don't have distributors no more. It's all electronic.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing down here. It always comes back to me when I first learned about a Harley Davidson motorcycle. Your distributor is stationary. How would you advance the timing or retard it?
I know they got a sneaky way to do it.
Think about this. The point gap.
Is that how they do it?
If it's
Yeah.
say if it's you bought a motorcycle. Well, the points are say 17.
It's too much, ain't it?
Too much.
Gonna run sluggish as hell, right?
It won't crank, and it won't crank on the first push on the Kickstarter. You adjust them points. Now I don't remember exactly, but you have to have a book that'll tell you on the high side of that cam on the distributor And when you set them points down in there to gauge them, when you close them up, that changes your
The timing.
advances or retards.
I never did figure out how to set dwell. Do you ever figure out how to set dwell?
Yeah. But what I'm thinking, right? What I'm thinking now, I need to tell you.
Mhm.
Instead of going with the key on,
Mm-hmm.
you throttle on, spark up, and you kicking it. And you keep kicking it. And it don't kick off. And then you kick it about 3 or 4 more times, and it kicks right off. Points are too far apart. And that's how you do it. And when you readjust them points, you can turn the key on, shove your spark up, give it a little throttle, one time. And it's sitting there, gets it pretty just up. Well, people notice that when you get off of it and you go in to have coffee, and you come back and get ready to leave.
Mm-hmm.
But when the guy turned his key on, he shoved his spark up, give it a little gas, kicked it one time, it goes thud, 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 it's pretty just soft. And when you heading out to the freeway from the coffee shop or whatever, truck stop or whatever, and you give it throttle, boy, she just talks right on up, and you change gear with this left toe. Pick it up. Clutch is up here.
One down and the rest up, right?
Yeah.
What year was that Harley you had?
Huh?
What year was that Harley Davidson you had?
Harley 74.
74 model?
Yeah. Oh, that was a good one. I bought it from a policeman. My daddy says, oh boy, I thought you was gonna be smart and buy you a car. Well, I already had the 40 Ford.
Yeah.
But I paid $300 for it. When I got mustered out, I don't remember how much I had. But I had quite a bit when I mustered out. And I met up with this guy in Monroe, Louisiana, and he was telling another guy that he had a Harley Davidson for sale. And I said, can I see it? Can I hear it? He said, got it right here in the garage. He just went around there and said, climb on the back. You know, the Harley's got a damn big old seat
Mm-hmm.
for them wide-ass women.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do, you got a rod that sits on springs at the bottom, round springs. And you pull it back under the seat and it snaps. And then you tell her to get on. And then she's got a nice seat.
Mm-hmm. Did you ride with the guy?
Yeah.
Mm.
And I said, how much does it weigh? He said 350 pounds.
That's pretty light.
Damn. No, it ain't.
It ain't.
No, not that.
I guess bikes got heavier over time.
Well, they did later. But that was 350 pounds that you're just getting a hold of for your first motorcycle.
Mm.
350 pounds, pretty heavy to keep balance.
Yeah.
And when you pull up to a place, the secret is to keep it balanced. Don't let it lean over and fall over.
That'd be embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, you see, you've got crash bars too that comes up They got footrest, click downs to rest your feet. When, say you're resting your feet down here,
Mm-hmm.
where you wanna stretch your leg as you're riding, you put them up here as you bring that little clip down for your foot to rest on, in between the crash bar. You got a bar about that big around.
Yeah.
That comes from this foot rest clear around over and down here. Oh, man. Well, when I got it to Oregon, I never did wreck it, never did come close.
Did you ride it from Louisiana to Oregon?
No, I hauled it in a two-wheel trailer.
Oh, okay.
And when I got up there, and unloaded it and everything, it'd been laying down 2,000 miles in a trailer, and I got it out of the trailer. I let it sit.
Good afternoon.
I